and we're still having an issue. What would be the next step you could take?
I don't know, but I do have a question that relates to this.
We're gonna save that until after.
Okay.
Because you're gonna, I'm ADHD, bro, so you're gonna mess me up, okay? The next step, let's say that I wanted to figure out where it's mixing, or is it mixing, or, because I just checked everything I know to check, and now I'm confused, and I'm panicking, because that's what we all do on jobs, right? I wanna get off this job. I don't know what to do, Adam.
Just had a baby.
The water is hot. And it's hot in the wrong spot. The toilet has hot water coming out of it. Why does the toilet have hot water coming out of it?
That has happened to me before.
I've seen it many times.
That happened to Steven,
I can make tea in the toilet. Anyway, next thing you're gonna do, guys, you're gonna turn the cold valve off at this heater, right? You're gonna turn this cold valve off. That's gonna stop pressure to the tank, right? Turn that off. Now you turn all your hot faucets on, you let them run down. So obviously, this tank is filled to a certain level with hot water, and these water lines are all filled, pressurized with hot water. This doesn't really matter, right? Unless this is up on a higher story and somehow it's able to bleed down, it shouldn't matter. Because you've lost pressure and you no longer have the upward pressure into here. So this is gonna drain out eventually, right? You turn the hot faucets on, and what happens? What should happen? If you have isolated this, what should happen? And let's just say there is a valve on the hot side. We'll turn that one off too, just to make sure we're not getting any pressure out of that tank.
No water should be coming out.
There should be no water coming out. What happens if you see water coming out?
All valve filled somewhere.
No, if you turn that water and it's cold, you turn that hot water on and it's cold coming out and it's still got flow. What's going on? What do you got? What have you officially confirmed? Because up to this point it was all speculation, right? You didn't know what was going on. It could be a mixing issue, it could be anything. What have you figured out now that you still have cold water coming through?
That maybe relates to my question. Across in the lines?
A cross connection.
What is that? Because I don't understand. When you go too
A
heavy.
cross connection is very simple, bro. I mean, this is a cross connection. What we were talking about here is a cross
So
connection.
you're saying that
Look.
it's a spot where those went bad?
Yeah, could be. This could be a cross connection right here. Boom. Right? I've seen this before. And maybe an isolation where somebody thought they were making a bypass or something weird.
Yeah.
I've seen all types of things. Or there was a mixing valve and somebody was like, oh, I got to hard pipe this in between these two. But we can't get a mixing valve right now and we need to get water to this device, so let's hard pipe it. Underneath sinks, I've seen people take mixing valves out and use a brass T. There's a million situations.
Yep.
Sorry.
Or operator
I get the purpose of that.
Operator error was the first thing that we were ruling out here. This is just, I'm trying to make you guys think, right? There's so many situations, so many variables, there's so many combinations, you got, what do you got, 10 numbers on this door, and how many combinations can you make with it? It's the same with everything in life. What I'm doing is I'm teaching you how your obvious things and how do I confirm I know what's going on. How am I 100% positive of what's going on? If you do this and you still have water coming out and it's cold, you know there's a mixing issue. Because there's a lot of things that could happen. I've had 2 stores in my 11 years with APP that just had shallow lines. And I told them, look, you don't have a mixing issue. It was both food places because they were trying to chill French fries or vegetables or whatever it was. It was both food places, and they kept calling me back out, telling me, our water's warm. We got an issue. Now I tore that store apart. And eventually, I went all the way back to the meter, checked the temperature of the water coming out of the meter, which was 200 feet away, and feeding multiple stores. Then I came where the water stubbed up in the wall, which I had to cut open the wall 100 times to find, because it was not out in the open. And I put an area there to find out what the water was coming into the store, and compared that to what was coming out of the cold side of the sinks, and found that in each one of those areas, the water was too hot. The water was coming from a water tower, the lines were ran super shallow, and it was record-breaking heat. The water was hot, coming out of the stupid lines, man.
Y'all understand what he's meaning by that?
It means there was no
It
issue.
wasn't deep enough in the ground. There wasn't a problem with how the store was.
Especially under the asphalt. You know, what do rocks do really well? They hold heat. Now you got a black asphalt with crush and run under it,
It's hard.
right? And in that crush and run, this line is super shallow running through there. You got a heater, baby. What are you talking about? I wish I wasn't on the video, but it is. Yeah, so, you know, this is your basic things. Also a regular lavatory, right? A regular lavatory with a single inlet in the faucet with a mixing valve underneath it. Or if it has to, sometimes they'll have, you know, your hot and cold inlet. You know, it'll be a 2-handle with a hot and cold inlet. And they'll just tee off and do a mixing valve for the hot side anyway, because maybe it's a restaurant and they didn't want to put a big mixing valve and they got 135 degree water. So they just put a little mixing valve under there, even though they have, you know, two hot and cold for the faucet. But, you know, that's an easy thing. You go through, you turn off all those valves. You know, if I do this, once I figure this out, right, and I know there's cold water, now I'm going to every fixture that could have hot water, and I'm shutting the hot water valve off everywhere. When the water stops, you know, I'll shut one off, I'll give it a minute, I'll watch that water that was trickling out, right? I'll shut the next one off, I'll come back, I'll watch that water that was trickling out. I'll shut the next one off, I'll come back, I'll watch that water that was trickling out. Till the water finally shuts off when I turn something off. And there is also a possibility, like I was saying before, that this is just crossed in the ceiling somewhere. You know, you have a possibility of that.
Why would they do that? That's what I'm confused
Oh,
about. Like, I understand.
What do you mean, why would they do that? Because people are stupid, bro.
Yeah.
And people don't have experience. And you know what? I got an eye wash station right here, right? I'm not even gonna draw this isometrically, but I got an eye wash station right here. Boom. With an emergency shower. Right? And I'm gonna extend my hot and my cold over to this eye wash station. What kind of water does an eye wash station have coming out of it? Tempered usually. It's actually lower than tempered, really. It's like 60 to 80 or something like that. But you don't want it to be cold, you don't want it to be hot. So what they do, you know, they put a mixing valve in. Boom. Boom. That's going to come down and feed that right there, right? Now, I'm a plumber, and this dang mixing valve's leaking everywhere, and I really don't know what I'm doing. I say I'm a plumber, but I'm pretty much a maintenance guy, right? Man, you got this leak, and I can't get this valve. This is a special order valve. It is a crazy Lennox mixing valve right here. So what I'm doing is, I can put a T. That'll work. Right? It's not leaking no more, store. Everybody thinks that everything's fixed. Till a month down the line where we get called out there.
Okay, I see what you're saying. That makes sense.
Or somebody just made a mistake at any point. People do weird things every day. You never know what's going to happen. Does everybody kind of got a grasp on this? Just to run back through it really quick. It's a food line. What's the first thing you're going to check?
The Nazi.
And?
The compartments.
Okay, so as a group, you're going to check your basic, restaurant, food store type fixtures, larger fixtures. You're going to get large volumes of water mixing, right?
Mm-hmm.
First thing you check is easy to check them. Very easy to check them. They have ball valves on them. This, you're just checking to see if there's a diverter valve and everything's on. Same really with these. I mean, you walk up to it and you see the stupid diverter valve set to pre-rinse and both handles are on. You already know what's going on most of the time. Found it. Then you call for check valves. That's what I would do. It's what I always have done. Next thing, all right, there's a little bit more of a complex issue. We're going to isolate the water heater and turn on the hot side faucets and see if water continues to come out. If it continues to come out, we know we have a mixing issue. Then you take further action. Then you start thinking of all the different places where it could be mixing. And you start isolating those places. Mixing valves, regular faucets, underneath hand wash sinks, paddle sinks, anywhere, right? You're checking all of them. You're isolating the recirc line. And that's it. Good information for everybody. You think it was good? Anybody have a question on it?
Very beneficial. Thank you for your help.
What were you talking about before?
The crossing thing, because when I was on the phone with the manufacturer trying to get some water heaters diagnosed, he said that was also a possibility, and then I ended up calling back and spoke with somebody else who actually helped me narrow down the actual problem, which wasn't any sort of crossing of the lines. It was just the water heaters were intended for residential use, and they were in a commercial building and had 11,000 worth of hours on them, so they just needed new water heaters.
I don't even know what that was. Oh, it's the end cap. It's okay, that's coming off today when I trim this board out.
That was a good class, Rob.
Well, thank you, buddy. Try to get everybody the knowledge they need.
Now y'all aren't going into stuff like